What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the new video on the Alien Algo channel. Today we'll be getting straight into it. We will be going over the markets as usual. So let's say what we had been watching in that previous video. We were watching this range, which is currently still being formed and still being respected. We either wanted to play that break or reclaim, or we would be wanting to see it deviate from those highs to play it back towards those lows. Because the thing I stated before, I think these lows right here just look way too clean to not take out. And with these lows, I mean these lows right here. As you can see, this hasn't even been swept. These also haven't been swept. This one also has not been swept. So we have a couple untapped lows, which I think we should be trading into. And with that, of course, if people really have been playing this break, because this is a thing I want to really emphasize on, that people don't seem to understand. If you are playing a breakout, what is the only thing that can screw you up? A fake breakout, right? So how can you solve this? Risk management. But also, when a breakout looked to be forming, and you were not able to take profits on this because you had your target either too low, either too high, or you were just not really looking at the charts when this pump happens, and you round trip your profits on that breakout one, you really have another way to make those gains back. And people don't seem to understand this. Because what really happens inside a deviation, meaning a fake break? You get this, right? You hold it, and instead of keeping to break out, the deviation usually forms like this, but not really holding here. It instead goes a little bit below, and it retests back into that range. I call this finding acceptance back within the range. I've stated this multiple times. It's the same way I am looking at playing sweeps, right? Where we later retested this, like right here, to see how we broke below, started grinding down, retested it, and you get that float back down. So if you were able to change your bias and adjust based on the price action that was given, you would have been stopped out either at break even if you moved your stop loss, or your stop just would have been hit right around one of these two candles. Right? So this down would have been small loss. But then, if you are trading a breakout, and instead of it becoming a breakout, it becomes a deviation, what do you now know? That you are wanting to see it retest that range. Because if it does something like this and now it holds again, look, now we can play it back towards the upside. But instead of it, we were looking for this. And it fell right back down, where we find that acceptance back within that range, and you go down further. Right, so this is a thing I wanted to explain at the start of the video so everyone understands this. Because this is the exact same logic that I explained with a sweep. Because let's say like, I will try to draw this a little. It's like right here inside a blank screen. Let's say you are doing some shit like this, right? You have your liquidity points being this, and you go down right here, even a bit lower. You want to see this part being aggressive, right? Where this is your range level. I will even do this with a line to make it a little bit more visible, where this really was your range, right? And usually it's not like perfect and it has like one anomaly at one side, so this is why I've shown it like this and not like an exact range where these highs are the same level as this. So we really don't want to see this reclaim being fast, right? Because if we get exactly the same pattern, like right here, and we again do something in the opposite side, where instead of finding acceptance back within, and we should know that it is breaking down. Alright, so like this. And instead of us getting this little bit, we find acceptance back below, we get some shit like this, get this, and then now we want to see this part, right, in order for us to be majorly bullish. But instead we get something like this. Do you see the difference? This is that point that I wanted to stay, like, when I'm talking about finding acceptance back within that range. And now I've drawn it like in a case on the downside, but it also can occur on the upside, like we have seen currently on the chart, right? Which this has been that anomaly right here, where you break above that range and it looks to be holding and it finds acceptance back below that range. I haven't drawn it properly because you really want to see a retest of this range high in order for you to play it back towards those range lows. So then if you're a breakout trader, you really only make a small loss right here. And the moment it finds acceptance back within that range, now you have the opportunity to short it back down to those range lows. Right? So this is the thing I really wanted to point out, because I don't think people are able to play these types of movement where they have to adjust based on what price action does, because when you look at it from an objective perspective, when I press the long button, what can happen? The price goes up, I make money. The price goes down, I lose money, right? So it's 50-50. So what do you really need to do? If one side of your IP gets violated, what usually will happen? It will more likely go the opposite direction, right? So this is the thing why I say you need to be adjusting to what price action does. And this is also, because this is all a thing people say, yeah, but you are saying we can either go up or we can go down, so you will be right in both cases. Yes, exactly. I plan for both sides. Why? Because I don't have a like predicting goal here. I don't know if it's going to go up from this exact moment. I just know these are the levels we will be watching. If we get a sweep, a quick reclaim, it will most likely trade back to those highs. But instead, if it starts doing some shit like this, where we sweep it, we don't get back within that range, I expect it to fall deeper. Right? The other way that can happen is where we currently trade back within these lows, and then we bounce, right? But price will tell if this will hold. A logical pattern will be formed. And if not a logical pattern will be formed, and instead we get some shit like this, I know it is not going to hold. And usually the order books will even tell you if it's going to hold. This is why I like to say the best book to read if you want to be a good trader is the order books. Just draw your levels, put an order book on the right side of your screen, or on the left side, whatever you prefer. And the moment price gets into those key levels, just start looking at what happens within the order books. Because what is price action? It's buyers versus sellers. And whoever is strongest is the move that will occur, right? So if you start getting good at reading those tapes, those order books, whatever, or the dump charts, whatever, right? And you know your key levels and you see what is happening within the order flow at those levels, and a price action pattern you like is getting formed around those levels. This is what really trading is. Because I don't know if we really should be even taking out these lows, but price will tell. And this is why we prepare for both cases, right? Because if you don't prepare for one or two sides, let's say I would only be looking at this scenario where we currently hold and we just go back up, right? Then the moment it goes down, I don't have a plan. So it will be way harder for me to be able to play this because I haven't planned it up front, right? And this is the thing I want to get across to you guys. Plan for both sides and play what is given. You don't play what you like to see. You don't play what you think will happen. No, you play what is given, right? So I wanted to go into this with a little bit more detail because I think this is a crucial concept which most people don't seem to understand. So now that we have had BTC, let's go over to ETH. It's still been a little bit underperforming, but when we look at this on a higher time frame, we still are holding this, which I quite like. So with that, yeah, there's not really that much to talk about for ETH. It looks quite decent, just a couple of small candles, where this can quite literally go both ways, but I think Bitcoin will be leading in this case. And the moment Bitcoin starts pumping, like right around here, and then Bitcoin starts to range, that is the moment I think ETH will take off. But currently, we still need Bitcoin to lead the way so ETH and altcoins can take over, right? If BTC doesn't do shit, none will move, in my opinion, besides like 4 or 5 random altcoins that have crazy momentum. But the general markets won't really move unless Bitcoin starts to break out, right? So for ETH, 2 logical points: break up from this box, or we hold these range lows, where there is that opportunity to, when you go onto those lower time frames, to retest this range low. And what would we really be getting if that happens? We will be getting a deviation, right? Here, look. I can't make this shit up for you guys. Right here again, you have your sweep, you have this, and you get a small deviation again. Now you sweep this, right? Okay. You guys should understand it by now. Here again, you get a deviation. I can't make this shit up because you quite clearly see this shit happening right here again. Get a deviation of that range low. Where if people, what most people really do, they draw their levels on a 1-day chart, like right here, like I did. Here, these levels are made on the 1-day. What do you see on the 1-day chart? You see the 0 candles have closed below this, meaning you are still holding this level this far. But what do people do? They draw this on a 1-day time frame. They go on to that 30-minute time frame. And here they tell themselves, we broke the range low. No, you didn't. A 30-minute candle has closed below that range low. It's not like the range is broken up. It did not break those range lows because that crucial time frame where you have drawn these levels is still holding it, right? You see it's still holding it, but you have multiple taps where you went below those range lows and you still made that deviation on a lower time frame, where most guys will be doing some shit like this, where okay, now it's broken, right? I will be shorting it with a stop set right here because I think it will go back to retesting those range lows or those previous lows that made the bottom. No, it won't. This was a deviation on the downside, right? Here again, people will be saying, yes, we closed below the range low. Fuck off, it will go down. No, it won't. This is a deviation. Here again, we broke below. No, it's a deviation on a lower time frame, on a higher time frame level, where we see those daily candles are still closing above it, right? So this is a thing I wanted to get across to you guys. There were 2 chart requests, and I have charted them, both of them before, so I think it will be quite easy. They were asked in the previous post on Twitter, but it was just a little bit too late because I already had recorded the video. So that one was XRP. XRP, it's one of those pairs that I have been bullish on it, but I think there are just better opportunities inside the market where this trade, like in terms of the spot hold, too many people are inside of XRP. So this is one of those that's it's kind of too big to fail. But on the other side, when you know that risk to reward is a big thing, if everyone is inside this trade, if everyone likes to buy XRP, If everyone wants to hold this token, do you really think this is the best opportunity inside this market? No, you want to buy things that nobody wants. Or you want to buy things that everybody wants and you want to be early on it. Like here, this really was one of those great opportunities where we know everyone and their mother likes XRP, right? So when we see such a consolidation, it should just go up, which it did with way more explosion than most people expected. But now we are still ranging and holding above a key level on a higher time frames. When we look at this on a monthly, it's looking really well. But then on the other hand, let's illustrate that you really get this scenario that I've drawn here. This has been one of my previous charts where I stated if we get above this, I will be looking for a retest of this to play it back towards those highs. Well, you see, we have that retest and we are still grinding in between. But I just don't see why people will be wanting to buy this because it's one of those safe plays that it's almost like a guaranteed 2x or 3x. And if you get really lucky, it may 5x. But are there better opportunities inside this market? I do think so. I think even ETH will be a better opportunity than this, or a Chainlink, or such projects, or maybe even an Arbitrum, with Arbitrum actually looking really well. And most people still don't even know what it is. But this, yeah, it still looks really good. Wait, this is not enough data. You see, this still looks like a way better opportunity. The masses don't even know about this shit. So here this is at 30 cents. Well, what would be your first target? Like right here. If you're talking about a spot hold, it will be like $1.2. Okay, that's already 3x. Right? So I don't really see that massive upside potential to XRP when you compare it to other tokens. But yes, it's a good play, it's a safe play. So the next one that I was asked is Filecoin. I have been quite vocal about Filecoin. A friend of mine has been really vocal about Filecoin, posting it multiple times a day. From this little point, I really did not see why he was so bullish on this one back then. The moment which I got my bullish thesis on this was when we broke above these highs, this previous low, and these previous highs. And we retested this. This is where I became like one of those Filecoin bulls, and I was like, yeah, we should be longing the living shit out of this thing. So I quite literally did. I exited most of my position right around here, with that being this previous low, this previous high. And it just kept continuing, so I did not really jump back into it, but I have took a little long ride around here. Right around this point, because I did not buy this candle. I waited for this candle to close, so I bought right around the open of this candle. So, and what really happened there again, guys? You look at it from a lower time frame perspective, right? You made a deviation and a reclaim. So this was my trigger, right? And you even had that retest that I was already out when we started rejecting here. I did not bother getting back into it, but this really is looking like one of those great charts where we are just making higher lows. And when you look at this on a weekly, it looks even better. This looks quite insane even. So I think Filecoin is one of those valuable tokens to hold. In terms of memes, it's quite impressive how strong it has been. While other memes have just been dying, and a lot of utility tokens and even layer ones have just been a little bit underperforming. Well, this has just been going up for like the whole year. So if you're inside of this with either spot or leverage, for spot, of course, I would be wanting to see it get a lot higher. But for spot, well, for leverage, I mean, yeah, these will be those logical levels. With that being this previous low, previous high, where you had that rejection to create that impulse to the downside. Here as well, this was your candle that created that top, right? It was this candle, I see I'm drawing it a bit off. It should be on this body, right there. And then I still drawing it wrong. 1 second, it needs to be there. Yeah, perfect. and you see one tap into it and then tap back down. So I think these will be those two levels to watch. If it really breaks this, yeah, then you can be looking at that all-time high, which with the strength and the community that Farcoin has been showing thus far, I do think there's a big chance of us really seeing that all-time high again. But do I like predicting? Do I like guessing? No, we will just be looking at levels to be broken. It's a quite simple game. You just play it level to level. There's always a new trade. There's always a new token to play. So even if you exit early, who the fuck really cares? Then you have made profit and you can go on to the next trade. Who cares? Okay, yeah, but now I have FOMO. No, fuck that shit. That's not how we play it. So we play these levels. Okay, here I will be taking an exit if I am inside of it. If it starts reclaiming this, I will be playing into here. If it starts rejecting, I will be waiting to get back into here. Right? This is the way how we play. We just get into a level. I don't know if it will break, yes or no. Volume could tell sometimes, giving you a little bit of an insight. But if volume is not telling us, why would I not exit? Is a better question. Because what happens when you exit? You have money, you literally made profit, and now you have the opportunity to play either of these sides. If it starts rotating back down, finding acceptance below that level, not breaking it, you have your logical trigger. Usually you make a low right around here, you reject from it, and then you break that low. This is your trigger to play towards the downside. But the other thing that can happen when you have played this as a long and it starts getting into here is this. And then what is your trigger again? Logically, I will make it a little bit more specific, but right around here you usually make a high, then this will become your trigger to play it towards that next level. Right, so this is a really useful way to play these types of trades. Is one more thing we will be looking at before I end the video, so it's that EVTC. Because the question was asked to me, like, will we hit $2,500 on ETH? This is so fucking close that I can almost guarantee you we'll hit it. But the question, in my opinion, is not if we will hit it. The question is when, right? So when is it really valuable to be going heavily long on ETH? If you're talking about swing trade, I think now is the time. Because not a lot of people are inside the trade. And a lot of people will be jumping into the trade when momentum starts to pick up. When will momentum start to pick up, in my opinion? When we get above this 0 to 5 level. And I think it will just sideline everyone again, just like it did here. You see how we initially just started to reject, and the moment we reclaimed it later, we just straight went up. While in this part, a lot of people did not bother trading ETH. Logically, because BTC looked bad on a relative strength level. But these are the moments you want to jump into trades, because let's look at this. This is not where you want to be jumping into the trade. Because this is just straight up. Where will your stop loss be? That previous candle? Okay, now you have a stop loss of about 2.5% or some shit like that. So this would be a great way to play it when we get above the 0 to 5 level in terms of scalping or day trades. But if you're talking about swing trades, I don't see why you won't be getting into this. Because what do we really have? We have previous highs, we have previous lows protecting the price currently. The only concern would be if we really sweep something like this, but I don't think we will. And honestly, if we really break below this, I would rather be cutting the trade and looking to enter back lower than just holding through the drawdown. I don't see the point of holding in massive drawdown when you can just exit for a little 10% loss and just get a better entry, right? If you're really bullish on the project and you have conviction on it, just take a tiny loss and get a better entry. Why wouldn't you, right? So with that being said, I won't go over any other alts. Some of them look really good, some of them look quite weak, but I think the general markets just look quite decent. But ETH and BTC will be leading the run, in my opinion. This currently could be a proper location to get that reverse, but what do we need to do? Form some higher lows before we can do this. If we don't get back above this level, I'm just leaning to one of these two scenarios where we either sweep this, reclaim, hold, and go back up, or we start to fade and start to round off and we even sweep this. So be prepared for both sides and just keep playing those levels. It's a simple game. The biggest thing you guys need to focus on is risk management. I will start to create a new video in a bit about risk management, which as the first episode I will be focusing mainly on leverage, and then later I will get into a bit of portfolio building on spot, where I will be making a more in-depth video on how to utilize risk. What is risk on? What is risk off? When are we playing risk off? When are we playing risk on? But this will be in one of those next videos. So with that having said, guys, it was a little bit longer than usual, but there were a couple of things I really wanted to point out. Because even though this is the daily market outlook, I will be adding a little bit of education content for the people that are watching this and take the time out of the day. You will be rewarded with a little bit of education and you will become a bit of a smarter trader or a more patient trader. Because these are the things that matter the most inside of trading. So, that having said, guys, have a nice day. Keep trading. Try to look for positions on this Sunday to try to front run those Monday longers. And like usual, keep trading, guys. Goodbye.